I'm gonna do a jump training in a nutshell. You ready? Here we go. All right, so the very first thing that I teach my dogs that pertains to jump training, so this is all flat work training to begin with, is how to turn in a circle, how to bend and how to turn in a circle. And this is done on my right hand in a clockwise and counterclockwise position. So learning how to spin on both hands. So this turn right here that I'm about to do, where he goes away from me, that is the beginning of our rear cross and our treadle wrap. And then the one I'm going to do the other hand. So him going away from me is the beginning of rear cross and treadle wrap, and then him turning into me is the beginning of a wrap on a tight wrap, and what we would do on our front cross. So this is our front cross behavior. So those are the first things that I do. And then I will also draw them across on my off arm, across my arm away from me, or sorry, across my body. And again, working the ability to change directions in clockwise and, no, that's clockwise, and counterclockwise position on both hands. Now when I first start this, it's very, very slow and moving at my dog's pace. So it's literally getting, let me see if I can show you, getting them to bend their head either direction. And when I do that, I try and put my hand to the side of their mouth. So moving them from underneath, I like to work underneath them as opposed to on top of their nose if possible. All right, so then I teach them to come across my body and turn, come across my body and turn. Just really good turning exercises, right? Yes. All right, then the other thing that I do is I do circle work. So getting them to do circle work with me, staying in this position, in heel position. So working in heel position. And this is not obedience heel position. This is agility heel position, which means that it can be on either side. But basically what it means is until I give you permission, don't go ahead of my leg. So having them come around, and it's extremely important to work on this if you have a dog that changes sides without permission. You need to make this valuable, making staying with you a valuable thing to have happen. Good boy, super. And when I do that, once he's understanding how to stay with me, once he's understanding how to stay with me on my side, then we speed it up. Speed it up. Good boy. Super. Excellent. Make sure we can go both directions. Speed it up. And I can make this circle as big or as small as I want to. Yeah. Super. Little vertigo. Very good. All right, so that's what I do first. Then I ask them to do it around something. So I consider this prop training, and what you'll find if you do this enough times with enough different obstacles or different just stuff, just anything literally. If I put something out, then it becomes prop training. And literally he has learned that we're going to interact with this prop. And so sometimes he'll interact with it on his own and say, oh, good boy, good boy. So prop training, and we want our dogs to interact with it. The more that you do prop training, the more that your dog will hopefully become interested in it and start to anticipate a good training game. All right, so we did circle work on my right, circle work on my left, and now I'm just going to include the prop. So starting out by just bringing them around and rewarding them. Bringing them around and rewarding them. Now, if you have a small dog, you may need to step in to help them, depending on what you're wrapping them around. But make sure that you give them enough gap between the item that you're working with and your dog. You don't want them to feel too much of pressure on the prop item in the beginning, not until they're used to it. So back up just a little bit, bring them through. You can reward them here for being in between you and the prop. You can also reward them there for being away from you. So going to the back side of the prop and rewarding them there. Make sure that you go both directions. So both directions with both hands. So right hand, left side. So right hand and left hand, clockwise and counterclockwise. Then what I start to do is I start to approach the prop. So having them, and again, this is where this works nicely, right? Is that my dog starts to learn that they can stay by my side and not move out. So this very difficult exercise if your dog won't stay here with you. So if you're still working on them staying here, what I like to do is put a flat hand with some cookies under my thumb or a slightly pinched finger into my dog's nose and let them bite on it or lick on it. So he's actually, so I've got 2 cookies in my hand and he's not actually getting them until we get to there. Now I just gave him both cookies. And then I can pull him off again. Switch hands. So again, 2 cookies in this hand. Bring him up. Bring him around and reward or hold on to one. So I held on to one to walk away again. Good boy. Good boy. And what I want to start to see as I do this over and over again is as I approach, so there's cookies in my hand. As I approach, I'm gonna raise my hand up and see if my dog will still follow it. Right? So the cookies are in my hand. The cookies are in my hand to take him forward and to reward him for going around. So bringing him forward, going around the back side, and then rewarding him there. Or, I can reward him anywhere. So bringing him up, I can turn him away from me on the cone, reward him 1. So I still have 1 cookie in my hand, reward him 2. I can reload and now walk out of it. So let me explain the difference between going to the right side of the cone when he's on my right side and going to the left side of the cone. So when I approach this cone, if my dog goes to the right side, he goes to the right side, I'm working on a front cross. If I change hands, or I'm working on a pull turn. So him going around and same hand coming on. So approaching on the right, if I change hands, I'm working on a front cross. If I don't change hands, I'm working on a pull turn. All right, now, if he comes between me and the cone, so we approach, and I'm turning him away from me on this cone, then I'm working on a rear cross or a throttle wrap. So it's the same thing, just once the rear cross, they take the jump and turn. The throttle wrap, they turn and take the jump after. So let me show you with the real jump. Same exact move on his part. So I can work it just on a cone. So if I come and he takes the jump first, and then he turns away from me, that's a rear cross. But if I bring him to the outside and then turn him away from me, that's a throttle wrap. So same exact move for the dog, just either he's jumping first or he's going around the wing first. So jump first, then wing is a rear cross. wing, and then jumping is a throttle wrap. It's the exact same move though. So if he's here and I send him away, that is a rear cross. If he's here and I send him to the backside and then jump, that is a throttle wrap. So exact same behavior. Good boy, you're so smart. This is where most new people to agility and those training, jump training, this is where most people have a tendency to not realize the different directions that you're going in agility. So if I am working on the cone and the wrapping of the cone, then I'm working on dog training, right? I am teaching him how to work with a prop, a wing, a cone, whatever it is that I'm asking him to circle. It could be a weed pull, right? Asking him to circle that. So when we're working on props, we're almost always working on dog training. But I don't need to have him to work on handling training. So what I need is an invisible dog. So when you're working with an invisible dog, I would encourage you to either have something physical that you can see where it's going, or you have to have a good visual in your head of where your dog's nose is or where your dog is in relation to you when you're working on this. So when I'm doing a front cross, the front cross part of it is handler training. The rear cross part of it is both handler and dog training, because the dog has the going away from me is not natural for the dog. But I can also work on rear cross without him and just do handler training. And so once the dog understands how to interact with the prop, then it comes down to commitment training. So how willing is my dog to go and interact with this prop without me, right? How much help do I have to give him in order to get this prop? And so the only way that you can build up that value is, one, to make it worth the dog's while. And so I utilize the 2-target training system for that, and I can throw a link in for 2-target training. But teaching the dog to interact with the prop without much of my help at all. But then also I want to include myself, right? So there's a little bit of a balance of both. One, we want to build value for props, but also we want them to be able to go from us to the prop without us getting too much involved. And sometimes that requires us to help the dog more than others. So every dog's different, but you can also start to include verbals that will help your dog to start looking for the prop that they're working on. And in the beginning, until that verbal is really strong and the dog's used to coming off of you, they struggle with it. All right, so as I approach this cone, I'm gonna give him a little hand signal, and as he starts to commit to it, I'm gonna start to pull away. And what I want to see from him is that he's willing to stay to the back side of it. But if at any point he makes the decision not to continue the circle, then I'm going to help him by stepping back in. And hopefully I can step in a timely fashion that prevents him from coming off of it entirely, where I have to fix it. So I'm going to send him forward, ask him to interact with it, and move away. And so as he comes, as I send him, oh, he's already savvy to it. You might not be a good demo dog. Yeah, you might not be. So sending him and start to pull away and see if he commits. Yeah, very good. Very good. You're too good at this. You're too good at this. So how did this start? It started like this. Let me show you how I taught commitment to him. So I would send him around on a rear cross. Oops, there you go. I would send him around on a rear cross and keep moving. So I'd kind of delay my hand a little bit to see if he would to see if he would stay committed. Send him around. Oh, he's on my hand now. Maybe it's a bad one. Yes, good boy. Super. Super. And I can utilize my offhand as well. Because that eventually, yes. So that is his rear cross hand signal. This is not. That's it. All right, so I'm going to switch to a jump stanchion to help him because he's not used to cones anymore. He's almost too big for that size cone that I have. But until your dog is really looking at the cone, go ahead and stay with the cone and then slowly introduce a jump stanchion in the 2-target training. I like jump stanchions for 2-target training. I like cones as well, but once they get the cone, might as well switch over to a jump. So I'm going to bring him forward, send him around, and ask him to commit. And I can use both hands, send him around, and commit. So he's doing that very nicely. One of the biggest mistakes that new handlers make, or dog owners in general, is their dogs don't actually know how to lure. So they go too fast for their dogs and they don't watch them. So knowing where your dog is in space is extremely important. And when you're working with them, if you need them to make a corner, it's a little easier for them if you have them slightly in front of your leg. If they're too far back, what they want to do is they want to slip behind you. So if you notice, as I'm asking him to take this jump, I'm actually pulling him forward of me here. And then I'm turning him to have him come around. Now he knows how to commit already, so this is easier for him. If he didn't know how to commit, I would do a little bit of rocking back and forth to help my dog. So, and this may be too high for a beginning dog and a beginning handler. So I bring him forward of my leg, I turn him slowly, and then I capture him. So my hand drops down here as opposed to my hand going here. Okay, so he's gonna beat me if my hand goes up here, and he'll stay up here. And what I want from him is actually for him to look down. So that's what I want. So I take him forward of my leg, turn his head in the correct direction, and my hand comes up, and then it meets him down here. Let me show you that again. So going around, oops, I grabbed, good boy. Let's try that again. Good, yeah. Good. So coming here, forward, turning him, and then meeting him. Good boy. And when I meet him, I can actually start to take off as well. So coming forward, luring him, turning him, helping him go, and then leaving him. Good boy. And I don't have to go far. I don't have to take a massive step unless I'm working some distance and speed. And I can do that from both sides. So if I want him to take this jump, this hand is going to lure him in front, send him around, and then meet him. Good boy. So I'm going to walk him up, bring him forward. Here's my send leg. I'm going to send him around and meet him. Good boy. And if he struggled, so let's say that I got to here and he left his nose right there. Oh, come here. So he looked like I bring him forward, and once I get him to here, if I think he's going to go back that way, I'm going to bring this other hand around and help him drag him around. I can use a toy for that. My personal choice is food on an exercise like this until they're comfortable. Then I'll introduce toys. I have no problem with toys. I love using toys in agility, but sometimes you want precision, and this is one of those times where precision's a little bit easier in the beginning. All right, so if I'm sending him away from me like a rear cross or throttle, bring him forward, make sure his nose turns in the correct direction, and then ask him to go around the wing. So forward, turn, hand goes around, and I meet him. Good. If I want him to turn and go in front of me, so he's gonna, I cannot step on his lane. So if I come to here, then he's gonna struggle with even seeing what we're working on. And so I need to make sure that he continues to see that wing as I start to send him, pick him up, and send him. Good boy. Very good. Now before you take off on your dog, make sure they're committed to the right hand. So have a cookie in that right hand along with one in the left. So I've got one in my left hand. He's already started to go. He was so cute. Yeah, I've got a cookie in my left hand to keep him where I want him. And then I have cookies in my right hand to help pick him up. The one in my left hand, he'll never actually get on this exercise. So he's licking it. I'm sending him forward. I'm gonna pick my hand up to help remove him from me and put him onto the obstacle. So notice, as soon as I picked my hand up, he went obstacle focus. That's because that's what I've taught him time and time again. If the cookie's in your nose, stay with me. If the cookie removes, we're going to go to something else. And I've taught him not to jump up for it, right? I've done all that training already. And so, I mean, sometimes he jumps up for it, but not when we're working on impulse control, he doesn't. And when we're working on agility, he doesn't. Only when he's getting like, hey, did you forget to give me one? Come here, bud. All right, so cookie's in my right hand, cookie in my left hand. I'm gonna send with my left, pick up and feed with my right. So sending him forward, getting his nose to this side of the jump. This hand comes to the other side, connecting him and going. Good boy. Eventually, that begins to look like this. Ah, very good. Very good. And once it starts to look like that, then I can start to go off in all sorts of different directions. So I can send him, go this way. Send him, go this way. Yeah. Right, if I did want to use a toy, one of the ways that you can utilize a toy, and you can do this with cookies as well. It's a little bit easier with toys because the toy's bigger usually, but you can do it with cookies, so don't get me wrong. But that is, as they start to commit, dropping the toy right on the exit. Okay, so I'm going to send him, drop, and go. So round. Yeah. Oh, you can get it. Yeah. There you go. Good boy. So I definitely do a lot more of this with food than I do with toys on this particular exercise because I like food. I like utilizing it. So he left his toys. We haven't done that exercise with a toy in a long time. So he definitely was like, what? And ran right past it. All right, let me do it one more time. And this time I'm going to give him permission to go get it. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Yeah, good boy. Good job. Oh, yeah. He's not allowed to grab toys unless I give him permission when we're working in agility. Wait, very good boy. Smash it. Oh, you love that one. Smash it. Yes. Good job. Good boy. Very clever dude. Very clever dude. All right, so none of this addresses actual jumping. I train that completely separate from commitment training. So the very first thing that I want, commitment. Commit to the obstacle when I tell you. Don't argue with me if possible, even though sometimes that does happen. But teaching our dogs to go from handler focus, which is what this is right now, right? Like focusing on me, focusing on the toy, to obstacle focus is a very, very powerful tool. You ready? Around, 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 around. Yeah, get it, get it, get it. Good boy. Super. Again, haven't done that one in a while. Took him a little bit. Let's see if you can get it faster this time. Around, 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 around. Yeah! There you go. There you go. Good job. Very good. Very good. There. Let's see if you can do it from my right side. This will be a little bit harder, I think. I use a lot more hand signal on this side. Whoops. Whoops. Wrap, wrap, wrap. Yeah! Good boy! Very good. Very good. That was so clever. Very good. Excellent. Well done. Well done. We actually haven't done this in a very long time. And when he was doing it, he wasn't very good at it. So he's definitely listening more. Oh, hang on to see if I can get him going. Super, super. Wrap, wrap, wrap. Yeah, I'm gonna take that jump even though that was the incorrect jump, but that's the direction he was looking and he let go immediately. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that one. Ready, smack it. Oh, yes, good job. So let me see what happens if I point him a little bit better. So from there, I'm going, wrap, wrap, wrap. Yeah, there it is. Good boy. Very good. Very good. Excellent. So my wrap means go away from me. Go away from me. Good job. Versus my around me goes into me. So if he goes for this one again, then it's incorrect. So I'll make sure he can see it. Oh, hang on to it. Oh, God. Around, around, around. Yeah, very good. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Good job, bud. Good job. Well done. Oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. Very good. Very good dog. Very good dog. Are you proud? Are you proud? Yes, you should. Very good, buddy.